Hey, shuckalaka kapow, how's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school with Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS. I got another album versus album, track by track. Two best of collections are duking it out. I mean, one went up against Motley Crue, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to duke it out against another band. Now, this band won against Motley Crue, but you know what? This band is going up against the band that one of the key members had discovered in a club while out on tour, a club in LA while out on tour with the band back in '77, and flew them on the other side on the East Coast to record a few demos. Didn't get nowhere, but those demos did get in the hands of a Warner Brothers exec and a tour manager. What are we talking about? You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest band in the world, Kiss Double Platinum, which went up against Motley Crue Greatest Hits and won, versus the boys from Pasadena, Van Halen, Best of Volume 1. Now, here's the thing. Double Platinum has 20 tracks, and Best of Volume 1 has only got 17, so I added a few tracks that were still somewhat hits from previous albums, so that way that they can go, it'd be a 50-50, and because there might be some ties, and a lot of ties on here, I got a quarter where I'm going to flip heads or tails. Because, there's probably going to be a lot of songs on both these albums that I love. And I'm going to have a hard time choosing. And I don't want, I don't want the whole thing to be a tie. So, remember, if you're new to the channel, hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in that box down below, ring the bell for notifications, tell your friends, tell your family, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister, your niece, your nephews, your nieces and nephews, your sons, your daughters, your stepsons, your stepdaughters, your stepfathers, your stepmothers, your, what else? Oh, your grandson, your granddaughter, your grandma, your grandpa, anybody, your pets, your work, your coworkers, your roommates, your classmates, anybody who wants to kick it old school. And without further ado, let's see how these bad Oscars rank out, shall we? In the case of, and I'm also wearing an appropriate shirt for the occasion. All my Kiss shirts are in the laundry right now, so, I gotta keep them clean. Now, in the case of Kiss Double Platinum versus Van Halen Best of Volume 1, oh man, this is going to be a doozy. All right, here we go. On with this. All right, track number 1, Strutter 78 versus Eruption. You know what? I love the song Strutter. I mean, a great opening track on Kiss's self-titled debut, but I'm not a big fan of this version. I mean, the drum beat sounds too fast. I don't think that's Peter Criss on the drums. And Eruption, how can I deny Eruption? So therefore, Eruption takes the win right there. Do You Love Me versus Ain't Talking About Love, easily, it's a no-brainer. I gotta go with Ain't Talking About Love. Hard Luck Woman versus Dance the Night Away. Dance the Night Away is okay. It's a little softer, a little poppier. And, Hard Luck Woman is an acoustic ballad, which I really dig. I mean, heck, on the Kiss My Ass Kiss tribute CD, Garth Brooks did his own version, his own cover, and he had Kiss as his backup band. How many people could say they had Kiss as a backup band when they were covering a Kiss tune? And Hard Luck Woman is an awesome track, so I am gonna let Hard Luck Woman take the win on that one. Calling Dr. Love versus In the Cradle Will Rock. See, I have a hard time with this one right here. I love them both. And you know what? Okay, this is going to be the only time where there's going to be a tie right there. I think. I don't know. But we'll see to that as we go on. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Let Me Go Rock and Roll versus Everybody Wants Some. Let Me Go Rock and Roll is okay, but I got to go with Everybody Wants Some. All right, Love Gun versus Unchained. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You know what? I think I can go ahead and give it another pass, for another tie. What the heck? It's only the beginning. All right, God of Thunder versus Jump. Jump's an all right song, but you know what? I'm going with God of Thunder on that. That's my favorite Gene Simmons sang Kiss song written by Paul Stanley. Firehouse versus Panama again. That's going to be, Panama's okay, but I'm going with Firehouse. Hotter Than Hell versus Hot for Teacher. Okay, right now we're at a tie with both albums. They each got 5 points. And I love Hotter Than Hell and I love Hot for Teacher, so we're going to let fate decide. Heads, it's going to be Hotter Than Hell, and tails, Hot for Teacher. And the winner is, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Tails, Hot for Teacher, right here. See, I lifted it right from my hand. It landed on Tails. So Hot for Teacher takes the win for Best of Volume 1. As you can see, I added a few tracks, like I said, like I've done before, and I'm keeping the last 2 bonus tracks that they did with David Lee Roth, despite the fact I hate those tracks. All right, let's see. I Want You versus Why Can't This Be Love? I'm not a fan of either I Want You or Why Can't This Be Love? But you know what? Oh boy. You know what? I want there to be a win. So, once again, heads, I Want You, and tails, Why Can't This Be Love? All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. And I Want You takes the win. Once again, they're at a tie. Deuce versus Dreams. I love Deuce and I love Dreams. Once again, I'm not going to do any more ties. This is going to be, I'm going to start doing tiebreaker if, I can't make a choice. So once again, heads, it's Deuce. Tails, it's Dreams. Wait, let me do that flip all over. Hold on. Dang it, man. Well, at least it landed on the table this time. If you remember the last time, it sailed way in the corner there. Here we go. Ah! It's like fate doesn't want either one of these songs to win. All right, and the winner is Tails, Dreams. All right, 100,000 Years versus When It's Love. I love that beginning bass intro that Gene does. It's not my favorite tune, but I actually, When It's Love is okay. So I'm going to give that to, 100,000 Years. Detroit Rock City versus Finish What You Started. Here we go again. Heads, Detroit Rock City. Tails, Finish What You Started. And that's one of the bonus tracks I added to Best of Volume 1. And the winner is Heads, Detroit Rock City. See right there? Yup. All right, Rock Bottom Intro / She versus Pound Cake. I'm going with Pound Cake on that one. Rock and Roll All Night versus Right Now. Now, I've said this before, okay? Rock and Roll All Night to me is just one of those songs that's just way overplayed on the radio when they play Kiss. And I actually like the Alive version and the unplugged version better than I like the studio version. And Right Now, Best of Volume 1 is taking the win. Right now, I got to go ahead and do track number 16. Beth versus I Can't Stop Loving You. Now, you know, it's one of my favorite songs. It is a power ballad and sung by Peter Criss. And it's going up against Can't Stop Loving You. You know, I do like that song, Can't Stop Loving You, but you know what? Beth is taking the win right there. Making Love versus Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do. You know, it does kind of have that kind of Led Zeppelin intro to it. And it's a pretty good song, but I'm easily going to go with, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do. All right, let's see. Oh boy, another flipper. Come On and Love Me versus Humans Being. Once again, heads, Come On and Love Me. Tails, Humans Being. Here we go. And Humans Being takes it. Tails. All right, here's where we get to the bottom line. Cold Gin versus Can't Get This Stuff No More. I am easily going with Cold Gin. Same thing at the last one, last but not least. Black Diamond versus Me Wise Magic. You know what? Black Diamond takes the win. Now, here's where we're at. Both albums are at a tie, so you know what that means. You know, I got to flip again, because now both of them are at a tie. So, therefore, heads, it's going to be Kiss, Double Platinum, and tails, Best of Volume 1. And the winner is Tails. Van Halen, Best of Volume 1. Winner by fate. So, there you have it. Van Halen Best of Volume 1 is a winner by fate, beating Kiss Double Platinum. Now, here's the thing. It's not that, I don't like these two Best of albums. I really don't. It's, like I said, it is a stroke of fate. And that's why I like to keep it fair. I want, I don't want it to be a tie where both albums, win. I want there to be a tiebreaker. That's why now I'm starting to do the coin flip when two songs are at a tie, once it gets down to it. So there you have it. Van Halen Best of Volume 1 beats Kiss Double Platinum. And, I'm getting some other stuff going on. I'm also going to have, let's see, what else do I have at the ready? Motley Crue Theater of Pain versus Twisted Sister, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. I got to find time to, go listen to both those albums again. And I also got Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, No Quarter versus Kiss Unplugged. So, I got some more stuff. And also, remember, I am going to be putting Batman 89, the movies Batman 89 and Batman Begins up against one another. And I got some other stuff in the works. And happy Juneteenth, or, if you celebrate that. And Father's Day is coming up, so if I don't get to do a video on Saturday, I want to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers and all the father figures and the stepfathers, all those, who stand as positive role models towards kids, father figure types. And, that's going to do it for this video. And remember, I want to remind you to keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Keep listening to old school music, play old school video games, watch old school movies and TV, and, keep it fresh. Also, condolences to the family of actress Anne Chardin, who played Kate Tanner on the TV series Alf. She just passed away. So many condolences to, people that worked with her, the producers of Alf, her family, her castmates, anybody that ever worked with her. Good actress. I didn't see her in anything else after Alf, but still, she was one of the most awesome TV moms out there. So, in memory of Anne, I think her name is Chardin or whatever it is, many, my condolences to her friends and family and colleagues. And also, I don't know if I told you in the last video, I did get to see the new Masters of the Universe the weekend it opened. And if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It's anything and everything, if you're a fan of He-Man, that you want in a He-Man movie. And also, I leave you to keep kicking it old school, and get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less chaos, no chaos, get you enough of less drama, no drama. And as always, I want to wish you all Godspeed. May the force be with you always, and shakalaka kapow!